All right. Outside of technical difficulties, how's everybody doing today? All right. Love it, Sasha. Courtney got to raise the roof. We got an amazing guest speaker on here. What's up, Michelle Smith, my South African queen? How you doing, my dear? You're on mute, my dear. She's still on mute. Hey, I don't feel bad. That was me too.
Get somebody from South Africa? Wow.
Well, she is born and raised, and they just actually broke into South Africa. They just got back for spend a month out there, and they recruited a bunch of people out in South Africa. So now, yes, we're officially in South Africa. But Michelle, your microphone's muted. Oh, she's still talking, but yeah. All right, Serene, what's up, my dear? How are you? Are you still having that things going in and out too, huh?
Every week I get booted out about 15 times.
That's so bizarre. I don't know. I couldn't even figure out how to get my microphone to work today, so whatever.
But I get up again.
What's that?
But I get up again.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Tell me something good, you guys. What's up, Jacqueline, Cindy, Mitzi, Jennifer McClelland? How are you, my dear? Miko. Good to see everybody. You're all doing this. All right, tell me something good. We got a few minutes here. Get some excitement going on as people are coming in. Some new exciting news. I know somebody has to have something. Dylan's got his May event coming up, Level Up 2023. If y'all don't know about that yet.
No.
It's been going on for, yeah, we should probably get Gail out there, Dylan. Gail would be a great spotlight speaker out there.
I got a spot for you, Gail, if you want to come. May 12th.
Got a spot for you, Gail.
Oh, hey, I loved watching you in Cabo and with your son and your family. And I mean, you were a phenomenal presenter, as well as Shireen Duncan at Build last year.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll throw the link in the chat, you guys, if anybody wants to come. But there's still room. We got a great room block that's available if you want to make a weekend out of it. It's Mother's Day weekend, so it's a beautiful resort, and it'll be a killer event like it always is.
Yeah, every year now it's getting better and better and better progressively every year. So, which it should be. Awesome.
And the results are in the production. We, as a team, we have outsold every single brokerage on the island. Compass, KW, Caldwell. If you look at units sold in the first quarter of the year, we have sold more than all of them. So we're the most productive group of agents on the island. Our production went up 12% in a market where our overall number of sales has gone down 45%. So we see no decrease in overall team production. So they're crushing it, and it's because they participate. Come to events.
That Dylan?
What's that?
Which island?
The Big Island.
The Big Island. Wow, that's incredible.
It's incredible. It's mind blowing.
You're gonna pretty soon we're gonna put an EXP sign right out in the middle of the water.
And that's not even all of EXP. There's 50 other transactions in EXP that are outside of our team. So it's like we crushed, as a brokerage, we crushed everybody. It's not even close. So like some of them 2 or 3 times as many transactions in the first quarter as some of the big brands.
World domination. You've been talking about it from day one. World domination.
You guys, it is so exciting because when I started, like literally nobody in Hawaii was selling up EXP except, the one guy in Mililani, and he'd been there 2.5 years, and there were still just a couple people in EXP. But it was now like every listing I have, I've got a ton, I get offers from EXP agents, showings, all that stuff. And then when I'm looking at setting up any showings, I feel like every other one is an EXP agent. It's just unbelievable, like how we have dominated these islands. It's just mind blowing, and I think my tail wags harder than anyone's when I see it.
Well, you should be, my dear, because you just made the top producer magazine out there, and Real Trends. What magazine was that? Real Producer.
Real Producers. I know they did such a nice job.
Oh my God, what a nice spread that was, and that's in Oahu.
They were amazing. Yeah.
So congratulations to you as well. So yeah, dominating the Big Island, dominating Oahu, dominating. We're now Maui, right? Dylan, you got you guys into Maui now too. So we're going to be dominating Maui, and we got Roan and all those other guys in Kauai with Ron Margolis. So yeah. So anyways, yeah, Cindy Griffin, how you doing, my dear? Good to see you. Awesome. Well, congratulations, both you guys. Doing well. Anybody else got some good news? Tell me something good here.
Cindy led the production in the first quarter with 13 million. You guys, mind
I
blowing.
saw that. I saw that graph. Like literally, it said Cindy Griffey on the far right. All Cindy Griffey. I was like, damn, girl.
See,
Good
she
for
used
you.
to lead. She used to lead all Sotheby's. Now she's leading all EXP. She's a rock star.
I
Look at you.
got so flustered I hung up on you. Sorry.
So excited she hit the wrong button. Yeah,
Yep, hit the red button instead of the green one.
we saw that.
All is good, and yep, our team's rocking it, and I got #1 for production first quarter, so I'm stoked.
I love it. Good for you. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Awesome news. Awesome news. We're moving and shaking. All right. Awesome. Good to see you, Jacqueline Phillips, Joanna Wheeler, Keegan. What's up, buddy? Awesome. Got some Michigan here.
Nothing too crazy.
Nothing crazy. Good to see you, Jacqueline, back from vacation. You got an amazing vacation. And did you go to Puerto Rico, Jacqueline?
We did. It was absolutely gorgeous. The only souvenir I brought home was COVID.
Awesome.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that. Hope you're okay.
Yeah, I didn't. It's not as bad this time. It's just like really bad allergies. So I took that time to get my mentorship certified, all that fun jazz. So I just did that actually today.
Nice. Good
Trying to
job.
make-
Congratulations.
Productive lockdown.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys were out there at the El Conquistador. That's such a great resort.
Yeah, we did. We stayed there, and then we also stayed at an Airbnb over in Vega Baja. I'm really torn. My two favorite things were the Taino petroglyphs and the Cuevo del Indio, and then I found this like rock slide in the middle of the jungle. We paid $5 to park at somebody's house and took this trail down.
Wow.
The kids are like, "This is so sketch. This is how we lose a kidney." And we got there, and it was amazing. It was one of our favorite parts of the trip. So
I love it. Awesome. Well, the experiences and the memories are priceless. So good job. Congratulations. Sorry about COVID, and hopefully you get over that quickly. So awesome. All right. Well, we don't have a mortgage guy today. He had to take some time off for some personal issues, but so we're going to move forward, and we are going to bring on our amazing rock star. For those who don't know, Gail Demarco. She is a ball of energy. I love her story. Is such a down-to-earth, humble story. She told her story at Build, I think, and on stage, and she's just been an amazing opportunity here. She's actually right here in my backyard in Roseville, so I get the opportunity to see her regularly, which is awesome. But again, all these people that come on, these special guests, you guys know, you got to go to the EXP Con, the EXP shareholders, the Build conferences, all these things, and you'll see people like Gail, people like Elizabeth Briley, all the ones we've had on here. And you get a chance to sit and meet and hang out with them, have lunch, have coffee. They're open to always hanging out with you guys and sharing what's going on. So, Gail, thank you for taking the time here to spend with us on our team and sharing with us. Thank you. You have a listing presentation snare day for us that you do where you crush it and nail the listing down the first time. But she has years and years and years of experience. So, if without further ado, Gail, introduce you. If you could kind of give us a little, maybe a cliff note on your story, and then jump into it.
So first of all, I just want to thank you, Chris, because God, I remember looking at all your Facebook posts where you were almost dying, right? So praise God. And I'm going to put a little story in the chat that just rocked my world on Sunday, just so you know a little bit about where my mind is at. I'm really faith driven, but gosh, this business pulls you off the tracks all the time, right? It's just like, so I'm going to put this little story. It's a local cop. It's his story. So when you guys have a chance, I really would love you to take a look. They were actually sitting in the front row of our church. I didn't even want to go to church on Easter Sunday because who goes, right? People that never show up. So through that. And then when you watch this and you realize after watching that his family was sitting in the front row, it's going to shake your world. And you're going to realize, our little problems and our small minds we're here for such a greater purpose, right? So I want to thank you, Chris. I want to thank Dylan. Dylan, you did an amazing job. Like, I was just like, I like that guy. You were like half holy and half ghetto. It was like awesome watching you. And I just love that about you, right? Because you were so real. You're the type of person I connect with, 100%. Like, you're so authentic. And I remember watching Sharina Duncan, the very first event I went to, and she was like, hey, this is, Lois style. This is how I rock. This is how I do it. And I love that. So I feel really humbled to be in this group. And I will tell you a little bit about me. I've been in real estate. This is my 9th year. I have a new position in my team right now. I'm not doing any production, right? So I'm really coaching our team members. Yeah, I'm doing a little bit. I'm still prospecting. Laura, my assistant of 8 years, is on this call. She'll tell you I was prospecting this morning. So I prospect. And I'm really, really good at conversations. I'm good at people that 2 years ago checked into our website, and all of a sudden I'm like, hey, Gail, you told me to call you back in three months. I know it's been 6 months. How is it going? And bam. So for me, it's all about connection, right? So the reason I'm really excited to share what we do on the listing side, just because I'm not in production, and that was our goal before the market took the shits, right? It was like, Gail, you're going to be out of production. You're going to be the person that's like you, Chris, where, I know you do production, but we're loving on our organization, loving on our team members, right? And making sure, because what happens when people leave DXP, you always hear, I felt like I was on an island. So that's really my role. So I've been doing this 9 years. And, before that, I was a wedding photographer, rock and roll photographer. That's what I did. So I always knew people, and fell into this by falling off a horse. I had 12 pins in my right hand, couldn't do pictures anymore. So God had a different plan for me, and I hated real estate my first 4 years, hated it. Because I was like, I'm a perfectionist. I want to be the best at whatever I do, whether it's paddleboarding, I'm going to race it. I wanted to race Molokai. I'm like all in or I'm not in. I don't know how to do anything. When people tell me I want to do this as a side hustle, I'm like, you're talking to the wrong person, because I'm always all in. So I'm just going to share with you, because I have a hard stop at 3 o'clock. So I'm going to share with you what we do. And right now, because listings are so hard to come by, and even now, although we're a huge brand in our community. I love the way you said, Dylan, you're number one. We are the number one office right now, in our county for production. In the tri-counties, we're killing it too. I think we're like number 7. But EXP overall is ruling all of Sacramento. And I was the first luxury agent that came on board. So, and for those of you that, the same thing, like Dylan had a lot of people. I'm going to keep referring to you because you really are in my mind. How, KW agents and that person said they weren't going to come over, and Sotheby's, and they're all in the audience and they stand up. Why not be the first? Why? We are not followers. That's not who we are here at EXP. We know this is a lot of freaking work, right? This is a lot of work. So, right now I'm actually in Florida. So I have a second, actually my main home now is in Florida. And not because I make too much money, or not because I just don't ever want to live in Puerto Rico. So I love America. I don't want to live in a third world country. And I'm closer to 4 of my grandkids. So that's the main reason. So now I'm going back and forth, right? And, it's a different market. So first impression is your first chance. So I never used to send drop off, I'm Mike Ferry trained 5 years. So I never used to drop off a pre-listing package, right? And it's really, really important to tell you why. Because I was too busy. When you're slinging 7, and my average price point is $987,000. That's my average price point. Now I'm here in St. Augustine, the average price point is $550,000, right? Different animal. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to just kind of go through it really quick. At the end of this presentation, I'll have links so you guys can have it all. You can have my forms, you can have my processes. I can't stand watching something and then they go, okay, see ya. So, and if you have any questions, feel free. I am always here as a resource. I am a coach with success, and even if I wasn't, I would be happy to get on a call with anybody. Chris's family is my family, so that's that. So how do I share? I'm not usually on Google Meet.
There's a little, down the middle of the box, there's a square box with an arrow pointing up.
Okay.
Hit that, it says present now.
Yeah.
You can share. Yep.
Okay, so here we go. So I want to, tell you, I didn't put this together. I just tell people what I want. I've had the same, can you see?
It's coming up right. Yes, I see now. Your screen.
Okay, so everything that I have is from failure. Okay, so it's from failing at things and trying not to disappoint my clients. I've been spanked probably more than most people, and I keep saying, how can I change it for next time? So can you guys see me?
Yeah.
See this? Okay.
Yeah, Laura Daniels.
So this is the light. The link, right? And then I So here's what happens. So basically, the first thing I confirm date and time. I provide a link to my high note, which I'm going to show you with a flip book. And I ask the seller to complete a seller questionnaire. It's a job form ahead of the appointment. And I provide the link. This is the most important thing I do because they will tell me everything. If they don't fill it out, I usually tell them, hey, listen, the reason I need you to fill this out is because it can make a difference between $50,000 or $100,000. Well, or depending on your price point, you could say $10,000 to $25,000. I need to know certain things about your home and your motivation, right? So I have different links, which I will share with you, and you guys can make your own. So then I go to sending a bonbon video, and it kind of goes like this. I follow up with a bonbon video. Nothing
Hi,
fancy.
Benjamin, Gail Demarco here. Just got off the phone with you about 10 minutes ago. Looking forward to meeting with you Friday morning, 9 a.m. Like I said, I've sold quite a few homes in your neighborhood. I've broken a lot of records. And just kind of like to share with you my opinion on what could get your home sold and if that makes sense, or should you just keep it for 5 or 6 years? So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. This is my cell number, but if not, to see you Friday morning. Hope you guys are doing well, and thanks again for taking the time. Bye.
So why do I say 5 years? I want him to go, are you kidding? I'm not going to live here 5 years. I'm always trying to bring them back to why they're meeting with me in the first place. I want a motivated seller, and I want them to have a motivated mindset. So now they've had a little introduction. It's nothing fancy. I usually do 1 or 2 takes, and that's it. I love BombBomb. That's one of my favorite things. So then I have so now I'm emailing this to them, the pre-appointment selling your home presentation. So in this, so they're getting after they fill out the job form, which I'm going to show you after this, they're going to get, hey, here's a home we sold, a little bit about us, and then all of the stuff's included. So in here, they're going to, and actually, before I go there, I'm going to go back here because this is what I've been talking about as far as the seller questionnaire. So this is a real one that we had, and they will tell you, hey, the thing I love the most about this is they'll tell you why, and sometimes the price point, why they're selling. Well, these people are getting a divorce. Okay, they tell you, and then he was saying 1.5. We sold this for 1,950, and I had builders coming over yelling at me saying that I gave it away. But that's all in their mindset. Do you see what the most important question? I will be doing research on your property and have not had the opportunity to see it. What price range should I study? How'd you arrive at that? Seeing other sales. Well, they didn't realize that inventory is down. This is one of the best neighborhoods. You can walk to all the high schools. And, and faster selling time with the 5, highest, everybody always says 10 for the highest price, right? And sometimes, when you're talking to them, they're not going to tell you it's a divorce. They won't tell you it's divorce because they don't want you to think it's a fire sale. This one, I'm pretty darn sure they wrote divorce in here because that's how I found out. But in any case, so I'm going to go from there. So here's what we bring with us. I just kind of took a picture of this. It's nothing fancy, okay? And so we basically have the CMA in here. We put the Zillow, we put the RPR, we put the tax records, all in there, and the CMA. So that's what we have in there. Let's see. I'm gonna get out of there. So we bring that with us. Hold on. Laura, what am I doing wrong here? Okay, I'll go back here. So there's the listing presentation binder. I used to bring the ones that were really nice and they're hardbound, but guess what? You can't put all your stuff in there. So when I'm bringing different things, let's jump to here real quick. This is very, very important. When I bring an agent with me and they don't have the stuff, I get very upset. So I want their tax records. I want to know how much they paid. I want to figure out the mortgage on that. So I have that. I don't give this to them I want to know, what are they looking at on Zillow? I want to know, what is RPR? Well, RPR is only good for 1 acre or less. If there's not 5 stars, this is what most appraisers look at. It's free to us in our MLS. Of course, we do something called the cheat sheet. So I do the CMA, just their neighborhood, and then usually like a 5-mile radius. Then I do our ranking report. So I'll say, okay, here we are. Here's my report card. Here's my partner's report card. And then I'll say, here's our office report card. Here's my little office. And, we rank number 10, and the first 3 are, there's actually EXP right here. I mean, this is us in our area. So just to let them know, because sometimes I'll always ask them, hey, who are you interviewing besides us? Sometimes they tell us, sometimes they don't, right? So let me go back to, sorry about this. I normally don't break it apart like this. So I'm trying to figure, okay, here we go. See, discuss okay, so then I'm going to go back to here. The pre-appointment, selling your home, the presentation. You've seen that, the questionnaire. I think you've seen that. Let me click on that real quick. Laura, you could jump in here oh, here we go. So this is exactly what they see. Okay, so they're going to view the link. And Jay's our partner, Jay Friedman. And in here, this is where they get to see what we've done. Okay, so they see the 3 of us. Now, if you do not have this track record, and I'm not going to have this track record this year because I'm out of production, right? So bring your team's production. Just bring the EXP overall. So it doesn't have to be where you go, hey, I can't. I'm not you. It's very important that they kind of get to know you. We've run commercials for like over 3 years, so people normally know us when we walk in the door. But recently we decided not to run commercials, so we do it just a little bit about us. So I'm going to tell them, hey, this is who's sitting at your kitchen table. I used to be a rock and roll photographer. This is my dysfunctional family. I have a family too. I tell them I'm a risk taker. I don't mind when the waters get rough. This has got my golf cart, but they don't know that. So, so just a little bit, and then I'll have, if you're going with somebody and it is somebody else on your team, then you'd have like meet Val Turner. So Val has her information, right? So I got pictures on Val. Then we have a little team video.
So you want to sell your home, but you feel overwhelmed and have no idea where to start?
When you work with us, it's the only call you have to make. From painting to packing, from staging to cleaning, what home improvements are needed, or even repairs. We even have an in-house general contractor. Start today by calling Turner Demarco at 916-936-2000 or go online, turnerdemarco.com.
Now, if you do not have a video of yourself, just do one with your phone. I don't have one of me here in Florida. You could just do one of your phone. So then I have view your files. Here's our services. And here in Florida, it's very different. I'm actually working at a Chris Snow's office right now. He's an EXP agent, and I'm watching how he runs his team. I'll tell you, one thing I really want to stress to all of you people, you have to be coachable. I've struggled because for me, it's kind of like being a sniper and in boot camp, right? Because I'm working with all these newer agents, and they have a very different way. They bring something that looks like a Denny's menu, laminated, when they go on listing presentation. I like to sell on a higher price point so I can have leverage and I could do less transactions. So what I talked to them about my initial consultation, we're going to listen to your objectives. They're going to read all this before we walk in the door. We're going to talk about the market analysis. We're going to talk about preferred vendor recommendations, high resolution photography, all the same crap that every agent says, but I'm putting it in something that they get to look at. And I'll make it expire in about a week. Because what do you do? What happens when you go to a listing appointment and you leave your stuff and you don't get the listing? Your competition gets it. Why do you want to provide your competition with your marketing material, right? So then I do my, and honestly, the stuff that we have here, it's nothing new. It's just the way we organize it. And we go in there, because I'll tell you, the thing I hear most about when we get a listing is the other agents that came in were not prepared. They're not prepared. I don't show them my team, my whole team. I don't want them to know I have 12 agents, because they feel like they're not going to get the personal service. Even when I do a listing for the last 2 or 3 years, the only time they see me is when I'm presenting. And I tell them, there's a reason there's 2 of us here. You may think I disappeared during your transaction. And the fact is, I work on the inside with the SEO, with the web guy. I'm the one negotiating your offer. Val or Brian or Joanne, they're going to be the ones, meeting your inspectors, your photographers. They're the ones that are going to be doing all the, all the boot work on the ground. That's not why you hired me. So if you set your expectations up front, there's no reason they'll ever be disappointed. I didn't always do that. So I have some testimonials. You just take a screenshot off of Zillow. Then I do, like, here's our market update. Once a month, we do a market update. We have some of our featured listings, what price, So this is all stuff I used to bring with me, and I hardly ever took out of my briefcase, right? Because most of the time, what do you do when you go to a listing appointment? It's not about you, it's about them. It's like, shut up and listen.
Mm-hmm.
And they could have this, because what do? If they're not, and I'm not that agent, that like sign the contract. I want to work with people who want to work with me, but I'm also not an idiot. I do try to get it done. So, I'll talk to you. I'll give you my 2 closing things that I do to get the listing signed. I don't want to come back. I don't want to come back for a second time. I was on a thing with Pete Middleton, and a couple of the agents like, how can you give a price when you're there? You got to come back. If you don't give them a price when you're there, you're leaving the window open for your competition, because somebody like me is going to come in and I'm going to get that listing. The best thing, the best time to get a listing is while you're there. Let's see. So then I talk about our marketing, and this is, I kind of had to put this together. And this, honestly, you only need 2 things here. You need Flipbook, which is about $400 a year for 100 Flipbooks. And I pay, I think, Laura, $36 a month, something like this for High Note. And
Yes.
yeah, so it's $36. So we show them, hey, here's some of our, so we basically will bring this in person, but we show them, hey, this is some of the stuff we're going to do for you. We're going to do feature sheets. We're going to do property feature sheets. What's a property feature sheet? That's what you put inside of a, now we're doing brochures again. Why do we do brochures? We don't do them for open houses. We do them obviously to make the sellers happy, but what's the real reason we do a property brochure? So we can bring it on our listing presentation. Oh yeah, I sold your neighbor's house. So it's nice to have an arsenal. We reprint some of our old ones, right? So we want to show them that this is, here's what we're going to do for you. What do other people bring? They don't bring anything half as nice unless you're dealing with, $1 million properties, and then you will see nicer collateral. So we just kind of show them, here's that house where they filled out the buyer questionnaire. More information. And just something to, we're trying to wow them before we get there so we can get out of there quicker. That's what we're trying to do. We say, hey, this is what we're going to send, once a month. We're sending out, I have a database of 17,000 agents, and I would suggest all of you get one too. And the way we do that is we go through our title rep and we say, I want every agent in Santa Clara County. That's where a lot of our buyers come from, do over 10 million a year. Well, guess what? The same people that we had 2 months ago, we're now down 2,000 agents because they're dropping out. So once a week, we send out our listings, you know, so we have an email listing and say, here's what we have. And so we tell them, you'll be part of this. We send it out to 17,000 agents. Now, if your title agent says they can't do it, call me and I'll get you a title agent who can do it. Because we get all of our stuff from our title agent. So we show better marketing. And then this is something new. You know, Val and I had to pay $5,000 between us to be part of the luxury listing. And I was like, why are we doing this? Right? Because honestly, I can walk in with no paper. I could walk in with nothing and I could get a $2 million listing because I'm that confident, right? But at the end of the day, there's always the husband or wife. They always ask you, how are you going to market it? Well, now we can say EXP, you know, we have to buy in to believe it, right? And we didn't know when we first signed up for this luxury at EXP, we didn't know what they were going to do for us. We had no idea. So, you know, now that we know that, you know, they're really spending a lot of time, I'm very close to, you know, Pete Middleton and Tina Paul. And how did I get close with them? By meeting them at events, by going on things like this with Chris, and just help. They're helping me, I'm helping them. So now we can talk about the world-class marketing. And, you know, it's pretty cool that Michael Valdez, who was the guy for Sotheby's for 15 years, who's running our operation now, right? So now they say, wow. And I could say, well, you know, no, that's small brokerage or its side or whatever. And I never, ever, ever talk shit about anybody. I basically say, you know, they're all, you know, that's a great agent. That's a great agent. That's a great agent. But I'm better, you know? So, I mean, but I'll do it in a fun way where I really want, I want them to understand that we're all friends in this industry. And most of the high-end agents, like I'm really good friends with all of my competitors. And because they're not competitors, because when you want them to win, when you have that EXP culture in your mind and you truly want people to win, they're not your competitors. So I have that part. And then we go down to, okay. So then I show, they get that. And basically, Laura, what am I missing? I'm missing something here. I'm going back to the Chris Okamura. Let me go back here.
Yeah,
okay.
there you go.
So, like I just did one for Florida. Okay, now keep in mind, I've sold nothing in Florida. I have bunch of my Eldorado Hills clients. I'm working with 2 buyers right now. And I think we did this in, I don't know, like two or 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I look like it's all about presentation, right? I'm not saying any crap here. I'm just saying you know, by the numbers. I'm not saying this is California. I'm just saying overall, by the numbers. So this is actually, isn't this an Eldorado Hills house? I think it is. But I actually took these pictures. This is actually what the sand looks like. So I have my little listing presentation right here, just taking stats. And I'm willing, you know, if anybody wants any of this stuff, just let me know. And it's not something I sat and I labored over. I mean, when you do this enough times, it's pretty easy. But I mean, I've had more compliments on this marketing piece, you know, because I'm doing some mailers out right now to the people I want to sell with. And so I've incorporated this all in one. And I think we're going to do that with our TDF one in Eldorado Hills as well. So we just incorporate it all. Let's see. Then at the appointment, very important. Let's see. And when I get to the house, I always drive the entire street. I want to know, is there new construction? Are there like big Class A motorhomes parked on the street? I really want to know if I haven't been on the street. Most of the neighborhoods I know. Here, I don't know a whole lot, so I spend a lot of time driving around. I'm always looking for views. I'm looking for, you know, things that may be a comp, you know, help my comp. So when I get to the house, Nick Sadik is a guy that I used to work for 4 years, one of my dear friends. he used to always say in the very beginning, he owns Sotheby's here in Sacramento. He'd say, it's just my gut feeling. And I was like, when will I get that gut feeling? Well, I finally feel like I can walk in and I have a gut feeling based on the questions I ask, based on the, you know, the homes that have sold, and based on what inventory is available. So I always compliment. I don't care if I walk by and they have their dirty laundry on the corner on the floor. I go, wow, this is amazing. You know, what do people think? They all think, including my wacky mother, who we just sold her house, and I wasn't even the seller on the house because I said I won't do it. I had somebody else on my team do it. She thinks her house is amazing. It's all original. My house is awesome. Your stager is horrible. Every seller thinks their house is the best, no matter what. You know, so just go in there and compliment them. Feed their ego. Don't feed your ego. Feed their ego. So now you're relating to them, right? I talk about them. I used to go in there and tell them, oh, Nick Sadek's the best, because, you know, I go in with Nick on all these appointments and how great we are and why you should hire us. No, talk about them. So, of course, you have them show the house. Always sit at the kitchen table. I have my seller questionnaire filled out in a folder with my Zillow. I've got the RPR, I've got their tax records, and I have my comps. They don't get that. I double check because a lot of times the tax records are wrong. Then I always ask them to tell me about their plans and talk about themselves. So when it comes to marketing, that's the first thing people will say, what do you think? What do you think? I'm like, you know what? That's a great question. I'm going to get to that. So I'm not going to go through every one of these because I don't want to bore you to death, but you can have, you know, like I said, it's all going to be downloadable. And this is very, very important for me. One of the things I always do, do I still have everybody's attention? Everybody fall asleep yet?
No, we're good. We're watching.
So this thing, if you guys do not have Disclosures.io, then you need to get Disclosures.io, because we put every single inspection property. I don't take a listing if they're not willing to do every inspection. If they are not willing to do it, because I'm not going to be that agent bringing bad news to the seller. Hey, guess what? They found $30,000 of deck rock. We're going to know everything ahead of time. This house I ended up selling for, I think, 1,550, and I had 4 offers on it. Believe it? Yeah. So I had 4 offers, and no, 1.5. Sorry. So it's really nice because you can see them all together. But the most important thing, you know, you have these docs. So when somebody says, especially in this market, how many offers you got on a property, and you have no offers, well, you can't BS, right? Because we don't lie to people. A lot of agents do, but we will say, you know what? We've had 12 disclosure packages downloaded, right? 12 of them. So that means that out of the 12, I'm pretty sure I don't have anything in hand, but we've sent out 12 disclosure packages. What does that mean? That means I've sent out their tax bill, their NHD report, all the CC&Rs. I get all those up front. The prelim, the seller property questionnaire, the TDS, you know, I have all their disclosures. The sellers that, you know, don't give you that, I don't even put it on the market. We've gotten spanked that we've had deals cancel because they did not have the SPQ, and then they go, wait a minute. And my seller put, oh, I'm fighting with the neighbor on the left. I'm fighting with the neighbor on the right. And they're like, what? Seriously, that happened. So home inspection report, roof inspection report, pest inspection report, and then I have the property feature thing, HOA docs, all of that. So now they have a complete package. So none of my deals ever get, once we go into inspections. And if you're doing a rural property and you have septic, good luck getting somebody out there in 2 weeks, right? So this way we can close quick. But the most important thing is this. I can see how many people opened this package. How many people, she was actually the one that ended up writing the offer. I can see exactly how many people looked at, what did they look at? And she hadn't even written this offer yet, right? So, but she kept looking at everything. So at the end of the day, you can pretty much see the activity. I don't want to say spy, but you can spy on what kind of activity. You can give a clear report to your sellers, and you can, based on the activity, you can call the agents back and say, hey, I have a question. I know your buyer viewed, and this happened on a listing that we had over in El Dorado Hills. We didn't have an offer. It was sitting on the market for like 3 weeks. All of a sudden I see an agent come back in, happened to be an EXP agent. I go, hey, Jeff. I go, did your buyer find a home yet? He said, no. I said, well, how come they're not writing? And he said, well, we don't want to insult you with the offer. I'm like, insult me. Insult me. I said, let me tell you, I think you're overweight. Give me a bad offer. I'll insult you. You insult me. Insult me. And we started laughing. And the next thing I knew, we had an offer. We were $100,000 apart. We ended up putting it together within $50,000. And so this has been like a huge, huge tool for me. And it's really, Laura, how much is that? I don't even know. I don't think it's,
I want to say it's like $40 a month.
but you can put all of your inspections. And then when I'm at a listing appointment, I show the sellers, I go, I invest in tools so I can get your home sold quicker. And let me show you. They really, that's one of the tools they really, really like. We show them that. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. Let's see. So then we, so as soon as we book the appointment, we have these certain addendums that in this market, it is very, very important to have these addendums. So, oops, on our addendum 1 says the listing agents agree to pay for the cost of staging up to now keep in mind, we don't do this with everyone, but if we do, like, we have a $2.4 million deal right now. So we said, we'll pay it up to $6,000, which is not even the full amount, which will be reimbursed to the seller in escrow at close of escrow. Sellers are responsible for direct payments for staging vendor at time payment is due. If the seller cancels the listing or the listing expires or the listing fails to close escrow, no reimbursement will be made to the seller. So that's one of our addendums. Another addendum is if seller cancels the listing, because we're seeing cancellations now, right? If the seller cancels the listing agreement prior to the expiration date, seller agrees to reimburse listing agents the incurred cost of a listing preparation and marketing up to $2,000. Now, keep in mind, our average price point is a lot higher, right? So including, but not limited to photography, video, advertising, listing coordination, marketing, and pre-marketing preparation costs. Payment is due within 7 days of signed cancellation contract. Now, guess what? Nobody ever says no. Because does anybody think when they're going to list a house, they're going to cancel? No, not at all. So why should we get stuck? And remember I told you everything we do is from something I got burnt. So this, and we also have something that's not in here. We have buyer agrees to get cross-qualified with the seller's lender, not my lender, and it's cross-qualified to be compliant with the Board of Realtors. And I'll tell you, we have averted more train crashes because the lender, will get the documentation, go, no, Gail, don't take that offer. That guy hasn't filed his taxes. And yeah, he's a dentist, but hasn't even filed his taxes for 2 years. Or, they don't, just all kinds of different reasons. So it's super, super, super important that you do something like that. I always try to sign the listings at the appointment. So here's what I say. And as I'm walking out, as I'm getting ready to leave, I'll say to them, so have I answered all your questions? And they're like, yeah. Well, you did great. Nobody ever says, you forgot to mention this. They go, wow, you really covered everything. So I'm like, great. So I know you're meeting with an agent tomorrow, because sometimes they say they're meeting with another agent. I said, but, of course I have an incentive. If you decide to work with me today, actually, I'll give you to 11:59 tonight. I'll give you to 11:59. Then instead of being 7%, it'll be 6%. And they go, and I tell you, the first time I said that, the guy said to me, wow, that's a lot of money. And he goes, what? He goes, wow. I go, yeah, that's a lot of money you're going to save. And they signed. And I was shocked. I was with one of our other agents, Corey McKinney, and he's like, you did that. And he goes, what happens if I sign at, tomorrow? I go, well, then it's like 10%. And they go, like, really? I go, it's higher. And But at the end of the day, they want to be done. They don't want to see more agents. If you've done your job while you're there, they're going to sign. So here's as soon as we get into contract, as soon as we get that thing signed, we're going to send this letter in an email. And it comes from Laura, my assistant, right? My name's Laura. I'm with the Turner Demarco, team listing coordinator. And I look forward to working with you, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. We have listing documents. Here's a copy for you to sign. Disclosures will be sent to you. Inspections and appointments. Here's a timeline. Meet our amazing team. So it gets all of this stuff is in the email. Here's this. So we do a service timeline, and we have a blank one for you guys. And we tell them when I'm I bring one of these with me. So when I'm there, I'll say, you know what? This is not set in stone. It could be flexible. And then one of the things I also say when I'm trying to get them to sign that while I'm there is like, my photographer is not just a real estate photographer, which is true. He's an architectural photographer. He's not $250. He's $1,500 to $2,000, and I have to book him 2 weeks out. To meet your deadline, I'd love to start working for you right now and start pre-marketing this house. So then I show them the timeline. What do sellers want the most? They want less stress, they're overwhelmed, and they want more money, right? So giving this for all my analyticals and the people that stress out the most, this really helps them. And also what we do is we offer 5 hours of packing. Okay, so we give them free packing. Usually 3 people come, and that's decluttering. So they always end up hiring our declutterers, to help pack up the rest of the stuff. So property information, I'm going to give you guys all my links for my job forms. I don't ask them all these questions. They get a link. They're going to tell me, do they lease, their propane tank, how old is your roof? They're going to fill all this out. I don't sit there with them. This is something they fill out through a job form link. Everything here, they give us the gate code. They give us all of that stuff. I'm tired of sitting with somebody for 2 hours after I sign the listing appointment. I want to get out of there, right? So all of this stuff, and even like little things like, why do you love your home? Very comfortable, open concept. Why did you build your home? We built it as our retirement home. Blah, blah, blah. What will you miss most? The neighbors, best neighborhood ever. So let's see. Almost done here, guys. Hang in with me. Here we go. Okay. Inspections. I don't intend any inspections. You can have a showing agent. I never let my buyers attend the inspections. Here's why. They're allowed to go for the last 30 minutes. The last time a buyer attended an inspection, there's a place called Greenstone, and it's a farm place. Well, what happened during that inspection? Friggin' rattlesnake went through the backyard, and they freaked the hell out. And this was only last year, and we had to do everything we could to keep them in contract. Rattlesnakes! So they're looking at the property, and they're finding cracks, and they're finding, oh, shoot, the neighbor's got like a boat in their backyard. We don't want, and they're disrupting the inspector, most of all. I mean, I've had times where inspectors come, oh, I forgot to do the HVAC because we're talking to them. Don't have your buyers there. So then we do, so here's the additional job forms. We have a seller questionnaire. We have a buyer questionnaire. I never go out with a buyer. Well, I don't go out with buyers, but none of my buyer's agents or any of our agents ever go out with a buyer unless they fill this out. They can't take 10 minutes to fill it out, then they're not your client. They're just, going to be a Zillow buyer. Listing contract action form. This tells us, what is a listing contract action form, Laura?
That's what the sellers fill out before, like during the listing process.
Okay.
You already showed it.
Okay. Then we have the buyer contract action form. You want to tell them what that is?
That's just on a buy side. That's really more for our listing or our back end team to kind of keep track of everything and what's going on with our agents doing, working with buyers.
We have a property information form. That's, for them to tell us when they updated the kitchen, when they did the backyard barbecue, when they replaced the roof. Then we have a seller move out form. And what is that?
We send that to our sellers, just kind of give them reminders of dates. And also it's something that we can then pass along to the buyer with information on like who's their, cable provider, all the providers and other services that involve their home. Like if they have smart devices, if they're going to be resetting them to, whatever codes, things like that.
Okay. And then I guess the buyer moving form is self-explanatory. So Laura in the chat, she's going to put this link in here and you'll have all of this stuff. You'll have our copy of our email to confirm the listing appointment. You'll have a copy of, our presentation, our notes, our tips, our introductory letter, all of our links, and the, listing document samples, seller questionnaire, all that good stuff. So I know I covered a lot and I hope I
This is awesome.
didn't lose you, but do I have any questions before I close my window?
Actually, I think Joanna had a question real quick.
Sure.
Joanna, what did you say? How do you have them sign the contract, hard copy or electronic form?
I'd love to bring a laptop with you if you want to do right there and have it ready to go. But normally I always print out one, and I never ever put less than 6% in the commission. Now, let's face it, in this market, will I take one at 5%? Absolutely. Most of the time we take it at 5.5. If we wanted just to sign it as is, I just put 5.5 because all they see is the 5. They don't see the 6. They will see a 6, right? But my goal is to get 3% on the listing end. So, and I tell them it's 5.5, 2.5 goes to the buyer, on to the next, right? So it's, at the end of the day, I'll tell you, when you go in there, you just have to have that confidence. So I used to coach with a guy named Steve Powers, and he used to tell me, Gail, when you go in there, Steve Powers was the #1 Mike Ferry coach, Bill Pipes obviously was, the coach to the coaches, and I've coached with Bill, but Steve Powers would say, Gail, when you go in there, he goes, you got to have full-on hooker sex. Do you know what that is? I go, not really. I have never done that. Because well, ask your husband. I go, you think he'd tell me the truth? And so anyway, basically what he's saying is you got to go in there with confidence and you have to vibrate that round. You have to let the seller know you're the best choice, because at the end of the day, listings have babies, right? Buyers don't have babies. Buyers are friends that, will drag you around every friggin' weekend. And I want to remain a listing agent. I mean, it's one of those things where now where people don't want to sell because they're sitting in a 3%, market. The only people that are selling are people who it's going to better their lifestyle. They want to be close to their grandkids. They've had a death. They've had a divorce, or they're downsizing. They're being. I mean, that's why I came to California. I left California because my husband was retiring. He didn't want to take 10% of his retirement and give it to California. So those kind of things, it's motivation. Really finding the motivation. And, and I'll tell you in the beginning, because I've only been doing this 9 years, right? This is 9 years. My first 5 years, in my first 4 years, I was a full-on buyer's agent, right? But I realized real quick that when your family stops inviting you to places and you start missing your kids' important dates, and, we need to be part of our family. We need to have Sundays off. We need to be able to control our schedule. We need to have somebody as a buyer's agent or even another EXP agent say, hey, can, split this buyer 50-50 with you. When we do an open house, our first weekend, whatever agent we let in there, from our team, it's a 50-50. Because otherwise we could be standing there. Everybody wants to go to the listing agent, right? Especially certain cultures, and that's usually a disaster. So you always stay away from it. But, they just feel that they're going to get a better deal if they go to the listing agent. So, that's why we're so focused on listings. It costs more money. Buyer's agents make more money because they just walk it, but they don't make it consistently. So if you can make it consistently, then you're going to make more money. So even if you're taking it 2.5%, I mean, we do have high costs. We pay our listing coordinator $500 because she fills out the bubble sheet. She goes to the house, hangs the lockbox. She says, it's quartz granite, or laminate floors, fills in the bubble sheet. Then we pay our transaction coordinator, that's $500. Then we pay our declutterer, that's $500. for 3 hours, for 4 hours. We pay our housekeeper. Well, we have them pay for the housekeeping, and then we have our photographer. But if you're at a $500,000 price point, you're not going to do all that, right? A lot of you are going to do it yourself. So it's like, I'm just talking like what we're doing, and you could chunk it down to whatever market you're in, because I just actually went back to a CRM that I really, really used to love, because it's just easier for me, right? I love KV Core, but it's just a little too complicated. So, I jumped back into my old CRM. So you have to, because and I like being in touch with my clients. I like, personally reaching out, sending market reports. I like that part of it, but everything's so complicated right now. There's so many freaking tools and there's so much noise. So what I did this last month, I went through my entire calendar and I took myself off of about 50% of the freaking Zoom calls that are out there. And it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much. What we need to do is get on the phone and get listings, or get on the phone and get buyers with your sphere. And, Laura will tell you, I'm doing it. I don't preach it. I'm actually doing it. And I'm pretty good at it because I do it a lot. So, you just, rejection, shoot. I've been online since I'm 15. My parents rejected me. So you think some idiot that is yelling at me for calling them are going to blow my mind? No, they're not.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just want to encourage you. The market is different. And so you have to act different, and you don't think I have like the drunk monkey where I'm texting Randy Bird, oh my God, what should I do? I'm just like you guys. I'm in a new market. I don't have anything going on here, right? So I'm working like I did 9 years ago. That's what I'm doing right now. I don't want to build a big team. I want to build, I want to build my skill set back up so I can just have that confidence that the right people, I always pray God puts the right people in front of me at the right time for the right reason. And it normally pretty much happens when you start to, panic. And the reason I'm talking about panic, I've had a couple of agents reaching out to me, not even with EXP. Oh my God, I haven't had a deal. Seriously, I've had 2 deals since January, and these are good agents. So I'm like, well, what are you doing? Well, working my sphere. I'm like, your sphere? It's like you have to think of your business as a table with 4 legs. Open houses, you will kill it, crush it. If you're not doing a Friday night, 3 to 6, now that the weather's better, you got to do 3 to 6. If you ask Nick Sadek, how many open houses did Gail Demarco do? For years, he'll tell you 4 every weekend. 11 to 1 and 2 to 4. I only do 2-hour open houses because I want everybody to see each other. I don't want to be there for 4 hours and go, I could have been at a freaking picnic. I could be on my paddleboard. 2 hours each one, because if somebody really wants to see that house, they'll be there, right? And when does everybody show up? The last half hour. They always do. So it's like open houses, then you have your sphere, then you have calling all strangers, right? So it's like, if you don't have a mojo or you don't have something, and you've got to get uncomfortable. So for us, like I said, it's open houses, it's sphere, and I do expireds and circle prospecting. So those are my 4 tables. Now I don't do expireds. I have a rule. I don't go 15 minutes away from my house. I've always had that rule, and Chris will tell you, I only sell in 2 towns. I used to work in Granite Bay and Roseville, and I said no more. I work in El Dorado Hills and Folsom. That's it. Here, my rule is if I can't get there on my golf cart, I'm not going, because time is precious, especially me. I'm in my 60s. I want to work with the people that want to work with me. So anyway, I've talked a lot, and does anybody else have questions for me? Any comments or?
This was amazing, Gail. Thank you. My gosh, what a pack full of content, like legitimately. I'm going to post this high note link that Laura put on there. I will put it in the Google Classroom for our team that we have. This is amazing. Oh my God, what a great menu layout that everybody could really utilize. So thank you. This was amazing. You were a rock star.
No, I've just failed a lot, so I've learned a lot. And that's
the best one.
Yeah.
It's the best ones. Like they say, the best therapists are the ones that went through the most jacked up shit in their life. They become the best therapists. We've struggled and failed so many times. We're the best at it because we've failed and have learned and now are teaching you better ways.
Well, I want to thank Laura because Laura's been with me since actually my first year in real estate, and she's got her master's UC Davis graduate. And I just I found her because when I was selling her house, I saw an Excel spreadsheet on her laptop, on her computer, and I go, "What's that?" She goes, "Oh, it's all the soccer teams in El Dorado Hills. I schedule them." I'm like, "Want a job?" She's like, "Doing what?" I don't know. I didn't even know what the hell I'm doing. That's exactly what I said. We met at I said, "I don't even know what I'm doing." I said, so she's helped me figure everything out and just through my failures. And she's like, "Well, let's try this." Or I'll send her a text at, probably 3 in the morning her time because I'm over here. But, I do go back and forth. And Chris, I'll let you know whenever I'm doing. Sometimes I do in-house trainings, happy to come do one for you.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're like a brother to me. So thanks so much for having me.
Here. No, thank you. I'm blessed that you get carved out some time for us. Love you to death. Appreciate you. And next time you're in town, definitely let's get together. All right. And it's definitely
Thank you,
4 minutes
guys.
of the hour. Gail, do your thing. Everybody, appreciate you guys. Love you. I'll post this link that Laura and Gail put on there on the Team Freedom page, so access to have it. But glad to see everybody. You guys have an amazing week. Love you all. And see you again next week. Don't forget Thursday, EXP Explained. If you guys want that, same time, 8, 11, and 2. Have a great week, y'all. Aloha.
Aloha.